Such a breezy, cool day after all those dry, hot days. It's easy to fall back into total contentment and just forget that I'm trying to do something. But what always helps is like remembering why. Why am I out here? What was my motivation? What were the things that I wanted to experience and create and share with each other, with others? Yeah. Because I just get like really at peace. And then, like in another journal I was talking about how like the ego is impatient and it wants to get shit done because it knows its time is limited, but the spirit is eternal. So it has all the patience in the world because it knows there's all the time in the world. It's going to go on forever. But yeah, it's weird like finding that balance between like staying on track with your life purpose in this current incarnation and like still being content and at peace and not like getting caught up in getting everything done. My microphone was running away. That's my thing for today, I reckon. Like that balance. Because, yeah, I was thinking like, it's almost like a laziness that takes over when you get too content. And that's maybe, this is a thing. Like, why I am out here and like why I do such big, ridiculous things to challenge myself is because I grow content very easily and I find peace really easily. So I guess I seek out things that put me outside my comfort zone and challenge me and remind me that there's more to experience. There's like, there's always like another level. There's always like another, you can always push the limits. You can learn new things. You can, I'm just thinking. Because it's like at the same time as I'm thinking about that, I'm also like kind of realizing that I don't need to do it again. Like that keeps coming up in the journals, I'm pretty sure. Like I don't need to do hectic shit. Like why not just be at peace? But it's almost like I have this issue where I think if I'm at peace, it'll be too boring. And as a creative person, as an artist, it's like you kind of want something to happen. Like one of my favorite shows is The Office. Because like in that show, they just record like the most mundane, everyday people going to work at an office, at a paper company. But what that show taught me more than anything else is like life is just interesting. Like people are just interesting. I know it's not real. I know it's not an actual documentary, but it doesn't really matter. Like I reckon if you did make one, if you went into a real office and you just documented people for 10 years, like it would be interesting. And that was actually one of the motivations for why I started this documentary that I'm working on, like on my main channel, like having all these discussions about mental health and everything. I was like, I'll just film people for 10 years. Like that was it. But yeah, I have this issue with like, if I just feel like it needs to be exciting. There needs to be like challenge and intrigue and drama and stuff going on. But I like it as well. I want adventures. Like, I guess the balance is like finding like, what do you really want? Like, what do I really want to experience? What do I really want to document and create and capture? This is like really cool. And I want to do more of this. but I don't need to keep chasing some higher and higher threshold of ridiculousness. Like it's ridiculous enough. We can relax for a minute. So maybe the pendulum will even swing back the other way, and I'll sort of chill out a little bit more after this trip. But I'm definitely going on a bigger trip next year anyway. So I've already lined up my next big adventure. And it's going to be bigger. It's going to be more epic. I just can't help myself. No, where is the balance? Like, how do you... I'm asking maybe I'm asking the right people, the right audience, but like most people, I don't know, I think, I'm so disconnected from like the status quo, like what is normal, what is average, what do people do? Because I know people do this, but like who is people? What is normal? What are we basing it on? Where is the middle? There is no middle. There is no normal. There is no average, because everybody is so unique and original. And yeah, I think the idea of average and normal is like a Western society thing. Like it's Western society and like colonizing society that like tries to homogenize everything, make everything the same, make everything so similar that you can't tell it apart, because it makes Western people feel safe and comfortable and secure in their society, we think. But it's the source of all mental illness, in my opinion. Like all the stress, anxiety, depression, suicidal feelings, even like psychosis, like it wouldn't be as bad if it was just acknowledged, and whatever experiences a person was having was just acknowledged and free to be experienced, and like maybe even listened to. Like there's a reason why people are seeing shit and hearing shit. Go off on some tangents in these journals, eh? I just have to have faith that like it all kind of connects and makes sense to the viewer. It's got to, because it's like a stream of thoughts. It's not just like it's not like you're just flicking through television channels. It's like my flow of thinking. My flow of thinking might be a bit more distorted at times, and it might jump all over the place sometimes, but for the most part, it's always going to come back to some kind of balance and equilibrium, and it's going to make sense again eventually. But the thing is, like, you might not get that far because it just might sound like gibberish in the middle. So you might not get to the end of the videos. I feel like the end of the videos are often like where everything comes together and I have the aha moment and I'm like, yes, this is what it's all about. This is what I was excavating the depths of my subconscious to find. Here it is. I will share it with you now. But until then, it's just reaching around in the dark like, what's inside of me right now? Let's see. Let's find out. Oh, I do just want to stay here forever and not deal with anything in the future. But you can't do that because I'll run out of resources and I'm not adept enough to survive in the wilderness by myself. And even if I was, I live in a Western country where you will probably be prosecuted for doing that because you're not allowed to be free. You're not allowed to just camp wherever you want and like just be. Like, I understand why. Like, I understand all the shit. Like, I don't need a lecture about like why we have rules and laws and structure and all that. I get it. But I just feel like if you're gonna have all that shit, you gotta make room for everything more. Like, there needs to be more room for different people to live different kinds of lives. Like, I hate that in Australia, like, basically if you fall off track with the steps that you're supposed to take to become a citizen and become a part of society, you're fucked. Like, I just think that's so wrong. Like, if you don't get the correct identity documents and you don't get your tax file number and you don't have a home address and a fucking like ID card and then like a job and like do all the things exactly as you're supposed to. Like, it's so easy to fall off track with that, and then you just fall through the cracks and you become like treated like a criminal, basically, like homeless people or like anybody who's like off the grid fully. They're like, yeah, they're just like treated so badly. And all I would really change is like just more like more spaces for people who have fallen off track, or they don't want to even be on the track. They just want to be out of it. Like, they want to be free from it all. Like, more free campsites, like more free spaces for people to just be, and like they don't have to do anything. Which sounds very liberal of me, like very like lefty, but I'm not saying like we have to, I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying like there's no space for people who like haven't fit in, and that's like one of the things that I reckon would change everything, if there was just more space for people who haven't fit into the mold of society, like somewhere for them to start, or somewhere for them to be if they don't want to start, you know, like somewhere, like more of that, more options. So options are shit. I've looked. I'm a part of like the mental health community, and like I see like what goes on in that world, and like how people with issues are treated like criminals, or worse than criminals in some cases. People are just trying to get by. It's trauma, and like they've just never been, they just missed all the steps. Like people don't know how to do what they're supposed to do. They don't even know what that is. They don't know they were never told like this is how we be in society. There's so many people out there, and there's just like not a lot of resources going into dealing with that. And fuck it, like I will get political for a second. I believe that the countries that deal with like all of the mental health related issues, like crime due to like mental illness or homelessness, and drug addiction due to like homelessness, mental health issues, even like depression, anxiety, all the shit, like the countries that deal with that the best are going to be the ones that come out on top, as far as like having a solid economy and all those things that politicians and political people tend to care about. Because like it just makes sense, man, to like get all of your citizens like to a point where they can contribute fully, and they want to. It's not like they're being forced to like pack bags at Woolies or stack shelves. And I understand there's something to that as well, because like if everybody just had everything they needed, like who would want to do the shit jobs? Like, I don't know, balance. Just thinking out loud. I'm aware that like in the future I might watch this back and be like, all those ideas are ridiculous. But it's not like I'm trying to tell anybody how to live their lives, or I'm not advising the leader of my country or anything. I'm just talking shit on my own YouTube channel. But I'm sure people can relate and like agree and feel things. It's not so much about like me saying something or anyone saying something and then like having a solution. It's just acknowledging that there are problems and there are people going through stuff, and we can do better. And then like we continue to have that conversation. We continue to put our minds together to like figure out like more solutions, and those solutions are emerging all the time. I'm a part of a bunch of them in what I still call my local community. They're in like Tweed Heads, the Gold Coast. Murwillumbah is where the hub is at, and in Brisbane as well, with the holographic kinetics community having massive changes, turning so many complex situations around for people every single day. Like there's stuff happening and it's awesome. And I guess if everything was just all perfect and nice, then we wouldn't be having this conversation. Like, yeah, I don't know. I just love people, and I just want people to have the opportunity to live their best life, even if it doesn't align with like the status quo or like the average, the normal, the expected, you know? There's a lot of people who are fucking awesome who think that they're pieces of shit because they don't fit some mold that they were told that they were supposed to fit into. Yeah, end of rant. That was really like, just go and do something positive and happy now and just like let that all go. That's all just stuff. Don't take any of it on. But if you did like have some kind of like thoughts and feelings and stuff, comment them down below. Click the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. All that stuff is so helpful for the growth of this project. And I'll see you again shortly.